Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET Now, a show where we get you all the stocks buzzing based on news flow and technicals. And talking about technicals, now we have Ashish Kyal joining us on the show. A very good afternoon to you, Ashish. Thank you so much for joining us on ET Now. And let's talk in particular about Tata Steel. We had Ashesha a short while ago talk about the metal pack as a whole, about NMDC, but Tata Steel on the charts. How is it looking to you? Do you think now you can venture into a stock that is actually heavily dependent on global commodity cycle?
Yes, if you look at Tata Steel, after a long time we are seeing the metal stocks are buzzing around, and Tata Steel has managed to move from the 115 levels now at 127. I think it has just started the upward leg, and we can expect the stock to move towards the level of around 135 on the upside, as long as on the low 122 level is intact. So it's a good opportunity. The risk reward looks appealing, so one can create long positions here in Tata Steel.
Okay, one can create long positions in Tata Steel. That's the word coming in from Ashish. But let's move on and talk about the next stock, that is CE Infosystems of MapmyIndia, as we know it as. The company is in focus today. The stock is buzzing away in trade. Why? Because the board is set to be meeting on 27th of November, and this is mainly to consider the proposal for a fundraising. So that's maybe the method of fundraising also will be something that will be decided by the company. And the company is mainly into the business of digital maps, like you know, they provide over MapmyIndia as well. So let's keep an eye out on that. This was trading away with strong gains in the morning, but as of now given up those gains, still managing to hold on to gains of almost 0.7% in trade as of now. So that's CE Infosystems of MapmyIndia on the back of the fundraising news that the company will be meeting on November 27th. Keeping an eye out on this one.
All right, let's actually put the spotlight on HPCL, and that is on the back of flashes on the bottom of the screen. Along with HPCL, I'll request my producer Snehi if she can also show ONGC for all of our viewers. And the reason being is we're picking up source-based information from wire agencies stating that the government is looking at providing a soft loan to HPCL. Actually, government is also considering options to fund HPCL's energy transition plan. So what they are planning, what the sources are saying, the government is planning to ask ONGC to consider launching rights issue to indirectly fund HPCL plans, and they're also looking, that government is also looking at providing soft loan to HPCL, and also they're looking at options. This is in order to fund HPCL's energy transition plan. So a significant development coming in for HPCL, and you can see the stock also react to that particular news on your screen. 2.8% uptick coming in for HPCL, going higher, in fact, towards the day's highest point, while on the other end, you can see ONGC that is seeing it's moved a tad bit lower actually at this point in time. And crucial why for ONGC is because what sources are saying or telling wire agencies is that government is planning to ask ONGC to consider launching rights issue to indirectly fund HPCL's plans. So that's a development that's coming in. Source-based information that we're picking up from wire agency. We'll wait and see how this transpires going ahead.
Surely keeping an eye out on that on the back of this news flow. But let's also move on and talk about Shalby. Ankita, why is this one in focus today, and what is the news flow?
Shalby is in focus today because the company has executed the amendment agreement to the operation and management agreement with the Santa Cruz Residents Association and the BCJ hospital for execution and construction of new hospital building. And the company is likely to construct a 175-bedded new hospital at Santa Cruz. And on the back of that, Shalby, we did see an uptick of more than 0.5% coming in the morning, but as of now it has given up those gains, and currently the stock is trading towards its lowest point of the day.
All right, so that is Shalby Hotels for Hospitals that is in focus today. But let's move on. Let's talk about Sterling and Wilson Solar. That particular counter is in focus in today's trading session as well. Yesterday also you saw a sharp rally come about in this particular counter. Today as well, the stock is actually locked in the upper circle about 5%. And the reason being is that the Economic Times has reported that the company has secured a $2.2 billion contract in Nigeria. This along with its consortium partners. So on back of that, this particular stock is locked in the upper circle of 5% for a second consecutive trading session. The company and its US-based partner, the Sun Africa, have been awarded the project. This is what Nigeria's power minister was cited in one of the reports, and that particular details have been reported in Economic Times today. On back of that order win by the consortium in Nigeria, you can see the stock actually locked in the upper circle of 5% for second consecutive session.
Okay, let's move on to the next stock. And Ashish, HCL Tech is the stock that you have picked out for us today. How do you see this IT name moving from here on? Last 6 months, 17% return. But surely when you look at the charts from the month of August, we've seen a very, very good move coming in for this one. So, the strong move that we have seen in the last couple of months, is that here to stay?
Yes, it looks like, because if you look at HCL Tech, it has been an outperformer compared to TCS, Infosys or Wipro for that matter. And we can see that the IT cycle is just turning up. It has been after a long time that we can see the IT ratio chart. If you look at it, it has been going on the upside. That indicates that there is some kind of a green shoot in the IT sector as a whole, and HCL Tech is leading the space. So I think the stock can from here move on to the levels of 1500 over short term. And on the downside, the important support for the stock is near 1300. But one can create positions even from the medium term perspective into the IT space, and it is looking bullish. I'm expecting HCL Tech to eventually touch 1800 levels.
All right, moving on, Ashesha, let's talk about Home First Finance. Huge block deal. This one saw today. And what are the details? Do you have any?
Yes, on account of that block deal that took place today morning, the stock in fact is declining nearly 4% lower as we speak. So nearly 9.2% equity changed hands via block deal. About 8.1 million shares changed hands via 2 block deals that took place today morning. PE investors like Warburg Pincus, True North and Aether are said to be the sellers in these 2 block deals that took place today morning. So on account of this, the stock is declining in trade. Remember, it has recovered slightly from the lowest point of the day, but despite that, down nearly 4%. But the stock has run up quite a bit already. It is up 27% in the last 6 months. Today, of course, on the back of this block deal that took place, the stock is declining in trade.
Okay, let's move on then to the next stock, and Piramal Enterprises. Ashish, what's the chart now indicating for Piramal Enterprises? Where do you see it headed?
See, if you look at Piramal Enterprise, the stock had a major hurdle at 975, and it has continued to form red candles since then. There is absolutely no buying we can see, and it is best to use pullback to sell the stock, because overall the trend has been bearish, and I can see the stock is now putting it around 907 levels. From here, we can expect it to go towards 875 on the downside, as long as 940 is intact.
Okay, keeping an eye out on those levels then over there. But let's move on and talk about Accel Exploration. This one is in focus after the company has announced its merger ratios with the promoter company Antelope Energy. Ceylon will be issuing around 2 crore shares to the promoter group now. And at the current market price, Antelope is valued at 955 crores. Ceylon has 3 oil assets. Antelope has 4 oil assets with oil and gas reserves, which is an estimate of 485 MBOE as well. Ceylon has also approved a fundraise of around 250 crores via QIP as well. On the back of that, we've seen Ceylon Exploration is in focus today, trading with gains of 8.3% as of now as well.
All right, moving on. Ankita, let's talk about Power Grid and what's the news flow surrounding this particular counter today?
Yes, so Power Grid has been accorded investment approval for the following projects. First is the augmentation of transportation capacity at Maheshwaram substation in Telangana, and this will come at an estimated cost of 142 crores. And second is the transmission system of evacuation of power from potential RE zone in Gujarat under phase 4. This will come at an estimated cost of 224 crores. And on the back of this news flow, this stock is going to be in focus today, currently trading slightly towards the day's lowest point.
Let's move on and talk about Reliance then. And Ashish, Reliance, what's the view on this one? What is the target that you're keeping an eye out on for Reliance?
Has formed a very clear higher low formation and a breakout from an inverted head and shoulder pattern, which is a classic bottoming pattern, and after a long time we can see some kind of a positive traction here. So I think if Reliance is looking positive, then overall index can also start moving higher, and the target for Reliance on the upside as per the pattern comes to around 2470, and on the downside support for the stock is at 2360 levels.
All right. On that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Market Fatafat. When we come back, we'll continue taking you through the stocks that are buzzing. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat on ET now, and let's talk about Reach Shipbuilders. That particular counter is in focus in today's trading session. It saw an uptick of as much as 4.1% at one point in time. Now the stock is trading higher by about 3%. It is actually reached its highest level since October 5th on an intraday basis. The company said that they've signed an MOU with Shift Clean Energy as well as Sea Tech Solutions International and American Bureau of Shipping to develop electric tugs. The electric tugs will reduce the carbon emission and improve operational efficiency. So on back of this recent MOU that they've signed with 3 companies for electric tug, you can see that the stock is trading higher about 3% as we speak. Highest level since October 5th is what is achieved today.
Okay, let's move on and then pull up the charts for MCX, I believe. And Ashish, MCX on the charts, how is that one looking like? What are the levels that you're keeping an eye out on for MCX? Now, we've seen a very, very strong return coming in, obviously, for this one. The up move is already seen. So, now is it time to maybe book profits?
We can clearly see a very strong uptrend in stocks similar to MCX or BAC, and we can see that they are outperforming. I think it is best to continue to ride on the upside. There is absolutely no divergence we can see on the charts. There is no loss of momentum. So the uptrend is still intact. One can create long positions even at the current levels. I'm expecting MCX to touch the levels of around 3,200 on the upside. And the support for the stock is going to be around 2770.
Ankita, let's talk about Accel India. Why is this one in the spotlight?
Accel India is up almost 3% in trade today, and it is on the back of the fact that they have approved the allotment of 69 lakh equity shares with a price of 1,085 rupees per share on preferential basis by the way of private placement to allottees, and this aggregate consideration is for 749 crores. And on the back of this news flow, we are seeing an uptick of almost 3% coming in for Accel.
Okay, let's move on and talk about CDSL. Ashesha, why is CDSL buzzing in trade here today? What's the news flow?
Yes, in fact, the stock is trading with gains of nearly 4% as we speak after the company informed the exchanges that it has become the first depository to register 10 crore demat accounts. So on the back of this milestone that the company has achieved, the stock is gaining in trade today, nearly 4% higher as we speak. Nuvama, in fact, has come out with a note where they are maintaining their buy stance on the stock, but they've gone ahead and hiked their target price from 1670. They've hiked it to 2,020 rupees per share. They say new listings and compulsory dematerialization of private company shares will boost revenues of the company going forward. They also say that total 87% share in incremental demat accounts and increased account openings will enable the company to win across revenue segments, and that e-AGM charges will also be growth drivers for the company going forward. So positive report from Nuvama, and on account of milestone that the company has achieved, the stock is gaining in trade today. It is off the highest point of the day, but despite that, up 3.8%.
All right, that's CDSL for you. That is seeing an uptick of as much as 3.8% in trade today. And Ashish, we've actually seen the surge that's coming in the demat account with the investor participation in the equity markets. And I'm sure you're not complaining about it, but given the fact that CDSL 80.9% uptick in the last 6 months, more scope for an upside, or do you think the investors will start complaining now?
No, I think there is absolutely no reason for the investors to complain as long as the stock is giving such kind of a stellar return. And after around 3 to 4 days of downtake, we are again seeing an upward journey starting here. And I think the stock is again going to move towards the earlier high, which is at 1900 levels over short term. And on the downside, 1700 is the support, which is the pivot level from where the stock bounced back. So here we have a good opportunity to go long on CDSL with 1700 as a stop and target of 1900 and possibly higher.
1900 and possibly higher is something that we could watch out for CDSL as well. Let's move on and talk about TVS Motors, because this actually managed to hit a new 52-week high today in intraday trade, and it extended its rally for the third consecutive day in the row. The company The company actually has announced now that they are entering into the Vietnam jointly with Min Long Motors as its distribution partner. The 2 and 3-wheeler automobile major said that they will furthermore, it would range in terms of scooters as well as motorcycles across multiple price points as well, and the foray is going to be gaining significance as it is the second major global entry in 2 weeks for the company as well. So in the last 2 weeks they've announced Europe, starting with entry into Europe, starting with France, as well as now it's Vietnam as well. So interesting that they are making a couple of forays there as well. And TVS Motors surely is buzzing away in trade, up 1.2% as of now. It even hit its 52-week high today.
All right, Ashish, let's talk about a space that has been buzzing. Looks like a turnaround is here, and the turnaround is here to stay, is what everyone's been talking about. And in that, let's talk about Sunteck Realty, a stock that not many talk about, but has seen spectacular returns, 66% in the last 6 months. Where do you see this one headed from here on now?
Sunteck Realty and the overall real estate space has shown good returns, and Sunteck Realty is just breaking above that earlier high of 480, which was made in the month of October, and I think it is getting ready to start the upward journey again. So one can create long positions at these current levels also, and I'm expecting the stock to move towards the level of 550 on the upside, as long as the low of 2 days prior, which is 460. So 460 is an important stop, and for the target of 550, I think Sunteck is poised for the up move.
All right, let's talk about Bajaj Auto as well as Hero MotoCorp, both of them. Firstly, let's talk about Bajaj Auto. That particular counter has hit a record high level in today's trading session. It's gained for a second consecutive session. You have Morgan Stanley that has come out with a note. They've raised the target price coming in for Bajaj Auto. And not just Morgan Stanley, you have JP Morgan note also that is coming in, where they've actually upgraded their model portfolio update coming in for Bajaj Auto, where they're expecting the FY24-26 EPS to be, they've revised it higher by about 2 to 3% because they're seeing an increase in their volume assumptions coming in for Bajaj Auto, and also they have revised the target to about 6,400 rupees per share. That's JP Morgan coming in on on Bajaj Auto, while on Hero MotoCorp also they have revised their model stance coming in for Hero Moto, where JP Morgan has revised their FY25-26 EPS higher by about 2.6%. Also, they have revised the target price higher to about 3,750 rupees per share. So not just Morgan Stanley on Bajaj Auto, but you also have JP Morgan that's come out with a note on Bajaj Auto as well as Hero MotoCorp. On back of that, both of them soaring in trade 3% higher.
Okay, surely keeping an eye out on that. But let's move on and talk about Adani Ports. Now, Goldman Sachs view coming in for FY25 to 26 EBITDA and EPS estimates increased by 3 to 4%. The target price is hiked to 855 rupees from 820 rupees. They see FY24 volume guidance of 370 to 390 metric tons as a conservative stock should do well from here on, and logistic business continues to see healthy growth, also to have a unique fully integrated logistics business. They expect the market share gains and pricing power going ahead as well. That's the view coming in by Goldman Sachs on Adani Ports as well. So let's keep an eye out on that one. But with that, we are absolutely out of time on this edition of Market Fatafat on ET Now. Thank you so much, Ashish, Aditya, Ankita, as well as Ashesha for joining in with us. And it's a goodbye from Cheryl, myself, as well as the team who put this show together.